Abang. Should I address you this way?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you just lead us on this thing, and I'll try to answer, and you enlighten us further?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, as I have gathered through the information about SUPP, SUPP has been from its formative years has been involved in this the business side of it, the association by itself, like you mentioned just now, and all these things have come together and create a political mindset within the people. So of course, from that on, there is the formation of SUPP. Before that, the LCA, South Chinese Association, or something like that, within the Chinese community. The Chinese community, of course, is divided into the Hakkas, the Hokkien, all these dialects. And in Cebu, the Puchaos, which I'm from Cebu.
Yeah.
So, as I gathered all this information, I think SUPP has made a mark by itself. And by going through a sense of association with other party, like you mentioned about association, because since we are divided by the ethnic lines, we have Malays, we have Lanaus, we have the Ibangs, the Bidayus, and of course these ethnics, they are sub for example, like Malays, they have the Kedayan, they have the Lugis, all this. So we all put that under Malays, and the Melanaus. Now, I believe SUPP started to regain the momentum of being the Chinese party, even though, like you mentioned now, about along the multiracial line, but SUPP has been all this while been from the people's perspective as a Chinese dominant party. But of course, looking into the constitution, of course, they have Malays. People like Dato' Kadir mereka was SUPP, and then people like Ipop Santubo, a few others, which I know.
The DC, we just visited him. He also from but father was a council chairman.
Yes.
So for SUPP,
So all this is the testimony that SUPP is a multiracial party. But because of the setup in the urban area, you are perceived as in such a way, because it's not your liking, or it's not about it's designed as such, because that is by default. It has to be
right.
So, before that, the Malays are in the urban. Now they have become suburban. The Chinese in community, the Chinese in the urban, the Malays become the suburban. And we have the Dayaks, and then some of the Malays, they are in the rural area. So I think the three phases of along the ethnic lines we have to. Now PPP, for example, they are more the stronghold is more on the suburban area, right? More urban, and their pasar kawin is in the rural. So PPP is more or less like SUPP is along the racial lines, and of course when Tok Dan came into the picture, it started the ball rolling. So this way SUPP start to regain its momentum. PPP is trying, that is 2016 or something like that, 6 years after 1 year. But sadly that he passed away, and his policy is that stuck the people's mind. We Sarawakian, we cari amoy together lah, that's something. This starts in the minds of the people. I have friends in SUPP, in the grassroots leaders. I have friends with them, and even the Kapitan in the Petrajaya there. Yeah, he got this one sandwich shop there. And I used to buy from him all the time. And you see, from there, it was unfortunate that Dr. Sim come into the picture because of the internal participation, and of course one with a smart mind will find victory at the end of the day. As I mentioned about PSB and UPP and become PSB, and they go into the opposition. Now they are left with only four parties. And that person inside there, and two of them are also what you call this the katak, the party from PKL.
Yes, correct.
So these are the things that people see, about credibility of one association. Credibility of one association. Now, SUPP has been very what you call this strong in their resolute in their decision making. No, but of course there are certain things that they have to kowtow, you because of the people's demand. So we have to walk along that line. Even though we want to put our foot down, but at the end of the day, we want a winning formula. Winning formula, for example, like in certain area, we need to fill up this candidate. For example, like in Dudong, we need to fill up this area. But it's within our party. So we win within the seat of the party. So from there, I look into SUPP become the one of these stronger party within the coalition of GPS. And GPS is like a game changer. It's a game changer. When we depart ourselves from the end side, and then we create our own coalition for the sake of our people. And that's where all these parties come together, and they have won handsomely in the last election. And SUPP has gained 6 seats for that matter. And young chap like YB Michael Cham came to the picture, and he has been very what you call this active in the social media. He's my Facebook friend. Michael Cham, Michael Cheng, all these names, the young people, they should be in the forefront. And the recent decision, like in Semenanjung, as you see, like in Melaka and Johor, they put all the young people. They had a new candidate, meaning that people want something new. That's why they said, as I look into this SUPP, SUPP must be a strong party together with PBB and the rest, where we can put our strength together. Of course, there will be weaknesses along the line, but with that kind of resolute affirmative from both sides, from all the sides, and we can be a better what you call this party. So as I look into it, SUPP must have been facing a lot of issues. So that's why when I pose this question, what are the main issues facing? There must be issues facing the party along the line where we want to strengthen ourselves in order to strengthen ourselves before and after. So maybe you can elaborate on that.
Right. Thank you, Zabaar. So I did make a draft here, short one, but I can add on as I go along. The internal unity is the thing that the main issue related to generation ideals. SUPP subscribe to 3 generations: the old, the middle, and the young people. So the young people has to get a place, in position, in post, in political participation. Whereas the older one, they could stick around, or they can. What is their role actually? There are many old ones. If you come here maybe 4 years ago, you walk through the corridor of this our HQ, you can see a lot of old leaders, old cats, but now they're all gone. So there is a change, like what you said, there is a change coming in, generational ideals. So now even more pronounced, as it is. You see that Michael Tiang and so on, the youth are really in line with what internationally, I would say, but also in terms of age, 18 years and so on. So the generational ideals need to be combined together. That's number one, internally. Number two is multiculturalism. Now you know quite clearly, multiculturalism is a bit of a problem here and there. To put it blankly, can a non-Chinese champion, or rather take the take hold of the leadership, the overall leadership of SUPP. That is still I would say big question mark. There's a question mark there, yeah, because majority are Chinese, you see. But nevertheless, we are open. I'm sure SUPP is open for, but via inter-election, the likelihood is very small lah. And also in terms of multiculturalism, we talk about linguistic. Yeah, in a meeting, you can, like me, I speak in English, but you try to speak Chinese, then Dr. Francis, Dr. Richard Leon, and a few of them, they will feel out of place. It is a natural thing, but on the other hand, they try to overcome by learning Chinese, and we learn Iban and so on. But nevertheless, it's still a multicultural problem, huh? But we overcome it by using English, and also, already there is some intermarriage, for example, and also traditions that we cross the clan. And when you talk about multiculturalism, even among the Chinese, we have so many slang. I cannot understand Henghua. The Henghua cannot understand Hakka. We can figure out, but we are united by Mandarin or Chinese language lah. So we can understand each other. So the Chinese school now is united, all using the same language. But if you go for dialect, the Fuchao, they cannot talk. Now Fuchao is, last time it was the number one in terms of number in Cebu, but now in Kuching no more. Kuching, Fuchao become number one, overtake Hakka. So this is within our party. There is multicultural, multilinguistic problem as well. It is a challenge, but it is a beauty as well as it can be ugly lah. But it can be very beautiful because we enjoy each other. How do you say Charlie Amoy together? Right? That is exactly the idea. Very humorous, but it's real. You see. And then the third one is supportive and professional human resources. I put there because SUPP, do you want the professional, like Professor Dr. Sim, who is a cardiologist of world standard, renowned in the world, and he was well accepted by whole society, all of us. But there are people who are not educated, but do they take in, do you still keep them, or do you how is it? So there is some internal struggle, to me a certain extent, but it's not a very serious one. They still put in a non-professional, but you see non-professionals, some of them can't even write minutes, right? So how do they function as leaders? So these are reality, but yet in the Ralphian, you have the Kapitan, you have the community leaders, you have councillors. They are not well educated, but they are workers. So how this is a problem? But I think SUPP has overcome that. So we accept. I think the professionals are in there, the non-professionals are they playing their role and mutual understanding. But nevertheless, it's going to be a perennial challenge, as I see it. This is internal. External, I didn't mention it.
Of course. Like what we are doing now along the PBB side, whereas the Komodo, the KK, at least 4 or 5, so at least they can speak and write in Malay, English, something like that. So when come to party matters, they know how to do something. And these people, like you said, is workers. They are good workers.
Yes.
They are the people who our ears in mata the telinga around them. And of course, we need people to be more having a good education also, of course, in order to grasp what are the issues. Sometimes you need to have people who have the political mindset, savvy in politics, where they are able to understand, they are able to differentiate between the good and the bad politics at the ground level. So sometimes when we cannot, when we are being bulldozed by a lot of negative politics infiltrating into the society, and that is where the Pengulu is playing a part, is it? Because at the end of the day, we want a very harmonious nature. We cannot deny that we are democratic country, democratic state, with our ideals in democracy, with democracy ideals, whereas you have the right to freedom of speech, right to freedom of association. But of course, within the association, there must be some kind of what goes a tolerable level.
Authoritative, right?
Yes, yes.
Right.
There must be. So we cannot be aggressive in such a way.
Right. Yes,
The
yes.
narrative must be very good. It really have to be, nobody want to be an aggressive party, to belong to an aggressive party.
Yes.
So this way, when you look into that, I think it fits well with DAP. And I'm sorry to say that because certain part, as we look into their ceramah, they are trying to incite. So when trying to incite, people get wow, they wow better. But at the end of the day, it defeats themselves. For the last election, it reflects their character. See, that's why in that kind of association, kind of politics, it is very bad for us. Like you mentioned about association of politics, association in democracy, that look along the ethnic lines, religious lines, and I think we need to keep that what we call this harmonious characteristic within our Sarawak concept.
Right.
And of course, as I want to mention further, we need to know the direction of SUPP, the next level. So what is its prospect in the next GE? And this GE is going to be around the corner. And if UMNO is going to push it, put down, it's going to be in July or maybe in early August. Because you see, here it's not only about the you want to fertilize about this the issues in UMNO. No, this is about the credibility of a government. Whereby before they said it's like kerajaan tepung atap, it's come up from the side, it come up from the back, and they have all this kata come in, which I call is like projectical kind of politics. It's a props, they come together and they form a group all together, and now they are most of them in Bersatu from UMNO, various sources. So there are of course other factors affecting us in order to have an election, and people are demanding that most. I think in Semenanjung I saw that they say to happen, and because of the economy, and the Chinese in Johor and Malacca has spoken, and even though the percentage is not we are desired, I think 60% or something. Because maybe because of COVID, maybe because they're still afraid that they're going to die, because of COVID. But at the end of the day, it shows that they have come, not to say they 100%, but they have come back to their senses. That we need to have a new government in order for us to stabilize. And the word stability is very important in order for other things to move. If you don't have any political stability, I don't think the business will run smoothly. This is a very important factor. So that's why I believe that SUPP will identify what are the direction. Maybe you can explain to them what the prospect about the next election.
So general election, as Mr. Abang has said, the UMNO has declared after July, something like that. They are ready to have it. So in other words, Sarawak need to play a part. So one thing is there are three things that I mentioned here that the party would love to see it happen now. Number one is greater GPS movement in local and national politics. In other words, GPS is now should be seen as a strong movement. Even I was talking to one friend, Sukumaran, a lawyer. He said, you people are in big position to talk about greater autonomy because basically GPS is stabilize everything and win the big one. Whereas Zabaar, any time can collapse the government. So we can't talk. He is very frank with me. He said we can't talk much. That's why the GPS here, we are now in a very strong position. Greater, I would call it, but there are still heights to scale, I believe. Not just national politics, not just local politics. Now we know Sarawak, we are doing well. nationally, we need to play a part. And then I personally regret that the SUP, for example, always talk about one-third constituency or location, that kind of thing. One-third, and then the amendment, yeah. For example, Dr. Sebastian is in the committee, and many of us are serious about it, including Sati Research and or Dr. Sim, who is actually championing. And you may not realize it, among the Chinese community, there were so many people championing, many associations, from JC Fong to a few leaders like Lau, and then what's the name? Our former Bendahara, the treasurer of the top one. Then these are the people outside still championing in different forums. So in other words, I feel that the party, via SUPP, via Sati and via Research and Resource Center, actually it was a think tank. It's still a think tank. It's under the Li Pingxin, Vice President of SUPP. So he is still the chairperson. He is still for many years since YB, Dr. Martin George Chan. So now greater GPS movement in local and national politics. In terms of national politics, GPS need to make a mark to them because like what we are talking about is education. Most of the youngsters, they will not now I think the 18 can vote already, right? So if they are not educated, they easily sway. Now what has we done? For example, Petros and different things we have done. And now we're going, today's newspaper, we talk about the formula, Hashida, about the grant, and so many other things. Actually, SUP has touched almost everything that need to highlight it to the society, to the young people, to the voters at large. I think this is one of it. Number two is veto and autonomy in intra and inter-party. And I think this has to be stepped up. Veto autonomy can be a challenge. For in my last, behind it, in my last, I did mention a little few things on some cases. Like for example, the Mambong one, is a very pronounced thing. Our president, Dr. Sim, actually expressed disappointment and so on, but nevertheless he respect the vetoing power of JPS or GPS. But then anyway, the intra one also, like you realize it, maybe you not realize it, is Dr. Lily.
Yeah, I read about that.
Also that's intra, inter-party intra. So these are the things that must be clear. Otherwise, the voters, the people, party, in the next generation, we cannot be kingmaker. We cannot do a good job because we are confusing ourselves. The enemy can easily attack, and then GPS will suffer under the parliamentary election, the general election. We suffer because people are very susceptible to this kind of ambiguities. You being ambiguous, people will sway easily. That's why formerly the opposition like the AP could win big and cause the the opposition, the wind of change, big. But this time they have no issue. There's no issue. The issue is so small until he is self-defeating issue. So distracting. If you talk nonsense, you're talking nonsense. So at the end, people realize, mature people growing, they know. But parliamentary election, if it's not clear, like intra-party, in terms of veto and autonomy, then there is a cleavage, for them to attack. For example, if we say, you SUPP, you mana ada kuasa, you kaki PBB saja, there will be a problem. perceived as a problem. You know, we have to. Reality is that SUPP is smaller and then urban based. Our big brother PPP is doing a good job across Sarawak, including some of the urban state, but most of the suburban and rural areas they are champion. You see, 47 over 47, 100%, 47 over 7 seats. Okay, so these are examples that we need to do, and then I put there and people-based parliamentary seats allocation. This is specifically the issue now, 1/3 lah. Because with Singapore out, now the 3 territories, right? Zabaar, Sarawak, and Semenanjung. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. That's a very common thing. Now I think the party, so at GPS must actually, wouldn't say attack, must really see the point that when Singapore left us, Sarawak and Zabaar is the other two-thirds already. You are 1/3, but you can be the Abang because your institution is very strong there, especially our monarchy system, our sultans there and so on. But on the other hand, the territorial autonomy is extremely important for the party to move forward in general election. If you don't talk about that, people will say, ini nanti macam mana nak belah duit? Nanti di parlimen cakap apa? You know, in parliament you talk nonsense when vote, you don't have the number. Okay, that is realistic. And in terms of the seat allocation, I think the opposition PBS already seen there is a need to have a Borneo alliance with Sabah. So this could be a big thing, although it's not realized yet. But the Borneo alliance, if realized, they are ahead of GPS. In other words, we must really go ahead. I read through our YB one idea. He's a fantastic guy. He's doing a great job in Parliament, and that should go on, and that should be educated as quickly to the leadership as well as the grassroots, so that the voters will be clear. Okay, the third one, the last one is I win all seats with GPS. I mean, SUPP cannot afford to lose any more seats. You can see that it's now about 15, nearly 16% only of the whole seats, of the voters. I think Chinese SUPP at least got representing Chinese about 20%. So there's still room to improve, to gain proper representation. And then in terms of seats, we have I didn't have the parliamentary seats, but we still fall short of a few. So in other words, it is possible, and I think the key factor is our Premier Abang, who has given all the support, and it is possible, and that is the direction that I think Abang will trust SUPP in terms of seats allocation, parliamentary seats allocation, and then do well with it. I think with SUP is not greedy lah. You see the representation is just about 24%, which is urban-based Chinese lah, but they also represent other races. You see, so the old seats must be given back to SUPP, and then with our Premier and PBB in particular, we can move forward together and win the old seats for GPS for Sarawak. Yeah. That's the thing that I could say for the general election.
Of course, there will be strategies for any party to embark for their success later on when the siren of this election will come into play. And I believe the strategies must not be mentioned in the public wise. Definitely there will not be mentioned about strategies, And in fact, the opposition would look up later and say, look, this is our strategy. But of course, on the micro aspect of it, there must be some kind of, I'm not talking about the micro, but the macro part of it. Of course, like, there must be a strategy where we can embark together, SUP with the rest of the party. And maybe the SUP has some say about it. What is your suggestion for it?
the strategies. I would love to differentiate between strategies and tactics, tactical moves. Strategy is mainly must be clear to me must be clear, like consortiation politics. The approach must be there. The methodology must be clear to members. Otherwise, we are fighting a war without proper motivation. But the tactics, we need tactical plans as well, used by the party. So I like to just, in terms of strategy, I think it's good to be open. But of course, subject to change. Nowadays we talk about, like Star Trek, the professor, there's a shifting context. Things are changing. Maybe next month change already. Things can change any time. For example, with respect, when James Massey passed away, there's a change. There's a change. The things change. And then maybe with respect again, Lim Guan Eng went to jail. Goes to jail, they stay lah. Sorry, it's subdue this. But anyway, it can affect.
Assuming.
So the whole thing that things can change. So it's I'm saying the contextual change, shifting. It's very fertile, but very shifting very fast. So, but strategy there is overall tactically is the change. The GPS is the spy also. That is the strategy, because we cannot afford to negotiate with others who are not Sarawak based, for example. And then GPS was you have to prove your coalition be intact and also dynamic, and also being what we call very tak setia, very loyal. Loyalty is a human trait, I would say, a political trait. If you're not loyal, like you're a fraud, people put a question mark in your life, unless it's very, very legitimate. Otherwise, your loyalty is questioned. I think Premier Abang, for example, he has been minister for many, many years until he become our Premier and Chief Minister. Same for people who prove loyalty. We cannot say because we lost, then we go, or say negative things against your party, against leadership and so on. So these are the things. The spy, I'm talking about GPS itself. I think there is a strong sense of unity as well as togetherness, oneness. I think that is the strength. I call it the spy because without the spy, there's no more feelings, no more emotion, no more achievements, no more structure. Number two, SUPP to work harder. This one is quite strategy. I did talk to Michael Tiang just now on the telephone. Sorry, I called him late today, but he replied this morning. He was so busy, and then SUPP he said work very fast this year. Before the MCO, before the I think just about pandemic time, he has so much time to work on the land, on the constituent. So ground. So they start very much earlier. Can in a way working very hard. So I think this is the strategy. We cannot afford to relax now. But anyway, you can see I follow I bring some papers and so on. You can see that all of us are working. Especially JPS are all working. From our premier, they're all working very hard on different strategy and down. But party, I'm not sure because party sometimes can relax a little bit but then they have to work hard now. All of them work hard, and then just now Mr. Abang mentioned about new faces, new ideas. They want a new thing. That's true. Even Abang Joe, our premier, he has the light up in the general state election. There were so many new faces, and SUPP need that. SUPP need new faces, and then work earlier. If they don't work early, then they will be gone case. Okay, Wilfred Yap is won substantially. Well, he works very hard. I saw him working there, giving free legal, without position, without anything. So I can see that Michael Tiang worked very hard. All these people, young people, they work very hard. They are not guaranteed to be candidates, nothing of that sort. But they need a platform, they always say. So, in other words, I would say that SUPP leaders and prospective leaders, they need to give a platform to work hard, and then work hard, truly work hard, early, not last minute, That's why the other one is the sincerity. I see that some people, they exhibit the true characters. They forgot they are in the governing body, governing party. They thought they are in opposition, or vice versa. Which is wrong. I mean, each of them have the roles to play. Now that the SUPP is the governing, we are governing. Don't talk like opposition. Don't behave or don't align with the opposition. We can work with them for the good of Sarawak. But this is something that I talk sincerity, because if you do that, then people won't trust the leadership anymore. Yeah, these are the two things.